Hi guys, welcome back to another brutally honest advice episode. So today we're going to go through how to remain unbothered, how to not let things affect you deep to your core, especially as an empath, how to stop giving people access to your peace, the mindset shift that helped me stop caring so much, and just the art of being unbothered altogether, because that's just where I want to be in life, to be honest. We're just going to get straight into it. I've got 10 points. I'm going to try and go through them as quick as I can. Let's get into it. Point number 1, self-form is the highest form of currency. This is probably the most important point in this whole entire video, because honestly, you can follow every other piece of advice I'm about to give you, but if you do not understand and really grasp the impact of this point, you'll just keep ending up in the same toxic cycle. Being unbothered is not about pretending not to care. It's about understanding that not everyone gets access to you. The truth is, your level of self-respect determines what you're willing to tolerate. People like to see how much you're willing to let slide, and once they determine that, that is the new standard that they set for you. And the scary part is, most people don't realize that they've been operating from a place of low self-respect until they look back and realize how much they let slide and what they have been accepting. I am going to have my laptop here and around me just so I can remember my notes, because there's so much to go through, so ignore me. The way you present yourself determines how people will treat you. The way you see yourself determines how much of that treatment you're willing to accept. Because when you truly value yourself, certain things stop being confusing. Disrespect becomes an automatic no. Mixed signals become an automatic no. Constant criticism becomes an automatic no. Being taken for granted becomes an automatic no, not because you were arrogant, but because you decided you are valuable. And unfortunately, a lot of us spend years angry at the people that treat us so poorly when we've unknowingly been teaching them that we'll stay regardless. People don't just learn from what you say, they learn from what you tolerate. And if you're constantly accepting things that hurt you, you're also sending yourself a message too. Maybe this is all I deserve. Maybe this is what I'm worth. And that is why self-value is everything. Because when your self-value goes up, your tolerate for nonsense goes down. And that is when people start calling you different. Oh, she's acting different. She's no longer the Vida I used to know. And it's not because I've changed, not because you've changed, but because your standards finally did. The way people treat you isn't always a reflection of your value, but the way you allow them to keep treating you, that's usually a reflection of how much value you see in yourself. Point number 2, shift perspective. This is the 4th person rule. One of the best things I've ever done is stop asking, what should I do? And start asking, what would I tell my best friend to do? Because somehow we're amazing at giving advice to everyone else but ourselves. When it's us, we make excuses, we justify bad behavior, we focus on the potential and give endless chances. But if it was our best friend, baby, we would definitely see the situation for exactly what it is. So whenever you are confused about a friendship, a man, a situationship, a relationship, work, or any type of situation that is keeping you stuck, try and take yourself out of the equation and pretend that you're looking at someone that you love, someone that you genuinely want the best for. Then ask yourself, what advice would I give her or him? What would I tell her she is worth? Would I want this life for her? And then here is the hard part. You've got to take your own advice. Because deep down, most of us already know the answer. We're just hoping that it will change. The advice that you are looking for is usually the advice that you'd give to someone that you love. And there's always that one friend that comes to you and always asks us for advice, knowing damn well they're not going to take it. They just kind of just want to know your thoughts on it. And when you give your advice and then you hear them go real quiet, you already know, yeah, this is just going in one ear and out the other. So the advice I would give to that person is give yourself the advice you would give me if I was in the same situation. And that's why getting a perspective from literally yourself is so important, because your answer is in you. You just need to bring it out. That's the best and most impactful way I found to do that. And that was kind of taught to me by my best friend. She's kind of just like, look at the situation for what it is and then determine how you're going to act after that. Like, I know what I need to do, but I just so want to hear someone else say what I want to hear. And if you're in that position, stop wasting people's time, please. Like, just go eat a bar of chocolate. Point 3, know when to leave. This is such a loaded one for me. I wrote paragraphs, but I had to summarize it. There is a quote that changed the way I looked at relationships. The quote said, never let someone tell you twice that they don't want you. Hear them the first time and take them for their word. Don't let them tell you twice. Fool me once, but you cannot fool me twice. And I don't just mean this romantically, in friendships, workplaces, family culture, anywhere. Because people don't always tell you with words. They show you with their actions. When they're inconsistent, when they're disrespectful, when they lack effort, with the way they continuously choose themselves at your expense. And for some reason, some of us see the message that they're showing us and we just spend years or months or days just trying to translate it into something more positive because we want to see them in a positive light. I am hella guilty for this one. Let me tell you, I've wasted some years off my life. I found that once I've gotten to know somebody at their core and like we've built a bond, built a relationship, and for me that is a hard thing because I keep my circle quite small, but the ones I keep in my circle, oh yeah, they can hurt me if they want to. Like, I become a footpath for the people I love. I don't know what it is. The only people that I trust to give me proper advice in those situations where I need feedback, if not myself, is my sister. My sister. No one can give me advice but them. They're the people that I take them for their word. Whatever it is, I take them at face value. Like, I don't have to go and investigate. I don't have to think if they've got like ulterior motives. What you say is yes and amen. And it is important to have those type of people in your life, like the ones that you just know they got you. It's scary because those people can hurt you the most, but they won't. My sister will never. She's my twin. But my whole point is sometimes you can start becoming attached to the person that you know they can be, the potential them, the them that you've seen over the years but has slowly faded, instead of actually just accepting who they're actively showing you they are. You start defending them, you start making excuses for them, you start focusing on their good qualities and minimizing the things that they do that hurt you. And I get it, especially if you're fiercely loyal to the people that you love. It is a struggle to try and change your perception of them. But that's why it's so important to have those people around you that can show you the truth if you're so blinded by your own love. Because sometimes the people around me can see the truth long before I can. One thing my mum taught me growing up was don't let any man or woman disrespect you in this life. She said man, but she said woman. Anyone, don't let them disrespect you. And that lesson has definitely shaped me as a person. My mum is a single mum, but no matter how angry she was at us, she never ever swore at us and never screamed at us to vent out her anger. I mean, she was a big disciplinarian, don't get me wrong. I've had my fair share of hiding. CPS didn't come for her. But because in anger, she never swore at me and she never yelled at me to an extent. That became my standard. Now, in a relationship, in a friendship, in a workplace, if someone yells at me or swears at me, I automatically see it as disrespectful. I don't see it as passion, it is straight disrespect. And that is where I draw my line. That is my boundary. And everyone needs to have theirs. But I'm so grateful that my mom taught me that lesson growing up, because now no one can talk to me any type of way. I remember when I was in my call center workplace, my goodness, let me tell you, don't work in the call center. If you can help it, do not do it if you value your mental health. But the boss I had, he was very loud. He was a cultured man. That was all fine and dandy. But the thing is, when you're in trouble, the office is gonna know because he's naturally loud. So he used to yell at people. Even when the doors closed in his office, he would yell at them. He'd come to the desk, yell at them. But I kind of liked him. I liked that he wasn't fake. He didn't hide how he felt about you, or if he was upset with you. You knew he was upset. The whole office knew he was upset. Whereas I don't like snakes like a few other workplaces. Anyways, we're not gonna go into that. I remember when I was in trouble one time, and mind you, it was for something so stupid. I think he listened to my recorded call with a customer and I said, no worries, that's amazing. And he's like, why did you say the word amazing? And he was upset at the fact that I said the word amazing. I forgot what it was. It was like beautiful, that's awesome. I said something like that and he thought it was very unprofessional, and they used to like listen to our calls because they were freaking micromanagers. I was in the room with another colleague and we both got pulled in because we said something on a call that like upset him. And I remember when he went off at the other guy, he yelled at the top of his lungs. But then when he went off at me, he kind of brought it down a few notches. He knew I was very sensitive and like I can't take much. Like because my mom has like shaped me this way, I can't take much. If you start yelling at me, I'll cry and I'm quitting. You're gonna get my resignation notice. And he knew it, he freaking knew it. So he dialed down his voice, which is not his standard, but he talked to me in that fashion, and I still got my piece, but he definitely did not yell at me. The thing I learned from that is I set that standard. He knew I don't yell at people when I'm upset. When I come to him in a gentle approach and I express myself calmly. So when he came to me, he expressed himself calmly. He was pissed off, but they wasn't about to hear about it because he didn't want me to quit. So that's what I mean by people will treat you the way you allow them to. That's why I'm saying set that boundary off the bat, especially if you're going into a relationship. You have to set the boundary off the bat. Men really, Steve Harvey will quote me on this, men really will test your limits and see how much you're willing to tolerate, and then they'll draw the boundary there. So please, just do yourself a favor, honestly. And this is the problem. The problem is once people realize your standards are flexible, they'll start negotiating them. Little by little, one excuse at a time. Give me one more chance, one more conversation, one more warning, one more opportunity, until one day you wake up and realize that you are accepting things that you never thought you would accept 2 years ago. You're tolerating tolerating things that you promised yourself you would leave if this ever happened, because you've now created flexible standards. So do not let people move your boundaries. Do not let people negotiate your standards. Do not abandon yourself just because you're attached to someone, because if you do any of these, you're going to lose yourself in the process. Every time you tolerate what you know you shouldn't, you are making a withdrawal from your self-worth just to make someone else comfortable. And here is the hardest truth that was taught to me by Dr. Phil the other day. The only thing worse than staying in a toxic relationship for 100 days is staying for 101. At some point, the lesson stops being about them hurting you and it starts being about your unwillingness to leave. It's about what you're continuing to allow despite knowing your worth. The longer you stay somewhere you're not valued, the more your actions start contradicting what you say your standards are. Point number 4, spring cleaning. If you really want to enter your unbothered era, you need to start taking inventory of the people around you. And I know it's easier said than done, trust me. I am a people pleaser. And I'm not talking about getting rid of the friends that you don't get to talk to every single day because they're busy and you're busy. I'm talking about people who seem to remember you exist only when they need something. The people who never check in. The people who are never to be found when you need them the most. The people who constantly take but never pour back into you. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Not everyone in your life is there because they love you. Some people are there because they benefit from you. Maybe it's emotional support. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's your time. Maybe it's your loyalty. And this is going to hurt some people. Maybe it's the fact that no matter how poorly they treat you, they know you're going to stay. Some people aren't scared of losing you because you've never put them in a position to know what losing you looks like. You cannot enter your unbothered era while carrying people who are committed to disturbing your peace. Sometimes the most powerful form of self-care isn't constantly adding people to your life, it's removing people from it. Stop watering relationships that will die if you stopped doing all the work. Point number 5, other people's assumptions are not your responsibility. One of the most freeing things that I've learned is that not everyone's going to understand you, and that is okay. Some people want to misunderstand you. They want to misunderstand your intentions. Some people want to misinterpret your actions. Some people will create a whole story in their head that has nothing to do with reality. And if you're anything like me, your first instinct is to automatically just explain yourself, to clarify, to defend yourself, to make sure that everyone knows where you're coming from. But here is the problem. Not everyone wants understanding. Some people want confirmation. They've already decided who you are and they're looking for evidence to support it. You could explain yourself perfectly. You could even provide every detail to the T. You could hand them a PowerPoint presentation and a spreadsheet and they would still choose the version of you that they've created in their mind. Because some people aren't committed to understanding you. They're committed to their opinion of you. And those are two very different things. Point number 6 stems into this, which is let them misunderstand you. Sometimes they know exactly what they're doing. Not everyone who misunderstands you is confused. Sometimes people choose the worst interpretation of you possible because they know it will pull you into a cycle of trying to defend yourself. A cycle where you're explaining, justifying, clarifying, convincing, and the whole time they're sitting back just watching you work for their approval. Because the moment you feel the need to convince someone who you are, you've handed them the authority that they should have never had in the first place. Some people don't want an explanation. They want access. They want reassurance that their opinion still affects you. Some people just want to get emotional reaction from you. They want to pull you into a conversation where you have to try and defend your character and prove yourself. And the more you try to explain and justify yourself, the more they realize their opinion has power over you. Their perception still matters to you. They still have access to your energy. A truly unbothered person understands this. Not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected, because sometimes your silence tells you everything you need to know. If someone genuinely wants clarity, they will listen. If someone genuinely cares, they will ask questions. If someone genuinely values you, they'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But if someone is committed to constantly misunderstanding you, no explanation you give will ever be enough. The moment you stop defending yourself to people committed to misjudging you, their power over you disappears. And that is self-value. Self-value says, I know who I am and I do not need to attend every meeting where my character is being discussed. Okay, I know I said that there are 10 points, but this video has gotten really long, so tune in next week if you want to see part 2. Bye!